Hello, I'm Aaron from AriesPointProject, and I'm here with Mila from Moonlight Soul, and we're going to have a discussion, another Beyond Replication discussion. And today we're going to be talking about Neptune and the North Node through Pisces and the cycle as far as we've been able to discern thus far. So thank you for joining me, Mila. It's good to see
Hi,
you.
Aaron. Thank you for having me. It's nice to get together for another co-creation.
It is. All right,
Cool.
so
So
today,
we are driving about the North Node Neptune conjunction that's taking place tonight.
mm, that's
Yeah,
I like the energy. Feels
yeah,
good.
yeah. Moon is still in a sign of Gemini, so we have a multitude of options how we want to perceive this occurrence because Neptune it contains everything, its totality. So it's going to be different thing for different people, and especially with this Pluto in Aquarius. The timelines are splitting and people are going to be experiencing different realities going forward. So we're going to be traveling in time, I believe. We're going to be looking at some charts from 1800 and then the early 2000s, and then we go to the future as well. So this is a proper Aquarian discussion. We're going to be jumping timelines and looking at these cycles within cycles within cycles.
Yeah, very well said. Right. So first chart I'd like to pull my computer here. So I'm going to share. And let me know when you can see it, Mila.
Mm-hmm. I can see it now.
Cool. So this was the chart from January 7th or 2nd, 1858. And as we can see here, we've got Neptune conjunct the North Node at 20 degrees, 11 minutes of Pisces. What's your
Yeah, this is
initial take?
Well, this is when the Aries got together, and obviously this is the 1800s. So there was a lot of things going on at that time, as we know. And it's interesting that now, obviously, in the here and now, the chart we're going to be looking at later, which is the present moment in time, this is where Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius. And this is technically where it all began. 1800s is when Uranus was discovered. I don't exactly remember the perfect date, but yeah, it seems like it makes perfect sense to me that we are resetting a cycle with regards to Pisces conjunction, not Neptune North Node conjunction, because as we mentioned, these are cycles within cycles within cycles. The last Neptune North Node conjunction took place in 2008 in Aquarius. That's what we're going to look at next. But this is the cycle of the Pisces, and it happened in the century when Uranus was discovered, and now we proper kicked off the Aquarian age with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. So I feel that's definitely there are a lot of synchronicities in that alone.
Yes, I know. Look at the position of Pluto here. I mean, it's 4 degrees Taurus. So Pluto's now at 2 degrees of Aquarius. This is a culmination energy, third quarter square to this. Of course, these cycles are always expansions of previous ones. But
Mm.
when I look at this chart, I see North Node Neptune in a yod with Saturn, or trining Saturn and in a yod with the Moon and
Mm.
Mars. And Uranus is at 25 degrees of Taurus algol and Medusa's stare. And right now, Uranus is in Taurus in a balsamic phase conjunction to this degree.
Yeah.
We'll be going into Gemini later on after this transit upcoming here later this year.
Yeah, it's very interesting because this technically says that Uranus went 2 cycles since this conjunction took place, because Uranus is on about 23 degrees now as we speak. So 2 full cycles of Uranus going from Taurus to Taurus to Taurus now again. And yeah, this is where we all meet to see some new intentions, some new cycles with regards to the Piscean qualities, which is everything. It's the source. So this is really taking us into these completely different realms, completely different realities, especially as at this point, the chart we're looking at the moment, Pluto was in Taurus on 4 degrees, which is the Taurus Decan Cancer degree. So this is where the seeding of the new foundation really began. This with regards to where we will be going, looking into future, which is now present, and then future, which will be the next North Node Neptune conjunction in the sign of Taurus, I believe. So it's just like we cannot make this stuff up, because literally it's just building up layer on the top of the layer. But the point is the same, which is the evolution. We are creating a new foundation for humanity to evolve through and in, and we're just taking it step by step.
Yeah, that's true. I know, from the ground up, from deep roots. Yeah, and this chart's interesting because the Yod, you've got Venus and Mars both in Yods as well. And so this is a very powerful chart. The seeds we've seen through these past 20 years starting to come to our own awareness in our own lives. Those are many cycles and expression from these transplanetary cycles. And Neptune North Node coming back around at the 28th degree, I believe. We'll get into that chart soon. But that's a very interesting maturation of this healing energy, this spiritual reawakening. Especially when you consider Uranus and change and the eternal memory and the expression of life continuing from what is pure within us, and what we find and ground into being through our lived experiences.
Exactly. And I find it interesting that, like you mentioned, the 2 yods, the finger of God, that are pointing to Mars and Venus. And as we know, Mars and Venus were the former rulers of the North and the South Node, and then they switched for the past 3 years. And Venus here in the sign of Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter only just stationed direct now a few days ago, as we recording this. And Jupiter here in this chart is in the new phase conjunction with Pluto, literally only 1 degree apart. So yeah, with Venus being over there on 28 degrees, which is up to number 10, that's the year we're entering into next year. 2026 will be the year of 10, the year of Wheel of Fortune, which consists of the Magician and the Fool. So again, nothing is lost on us. There is no coincidence why these things are happening when they're happening, and we are seeding this new story for humanity. And the story is always getting reset. There is always a continuation of a cycle, but the story is always different because the perception changes as humanity grows and evolves. So nothing is ever perceived the same way, even though here we have Neptune North Node conjunction in Pisces. Now we have Neptune conjunction in Pisces. And despite the fact that there are some similarities, like this Uranus in Taurus, similar degree, but everything's changed. Humanity is in a very different place as it was these 160 plus years ago. And this is what it is. Like I remember when I was studying evolutionary astrology, and like when they say, oh, these cycles are coming around, you will get another chance, but nothing will ever be the same. Just like any of us is not the same as we were last time these cycles took place, whether within this lifetime or previous lifetimes. And this is life. This is literally what we come here to do, to explore and experience these different things from a different angle and different perception that is based on how far we've come as a humanity, because the lived experience lives in our DNA, in every single one of us. Every next generation holds it within them.
Yeah, we hold that fire, we pass it up to the next generation. And this, you could see, Venus was conjunct the galactic center here.
Oh, yeah.
And the evolution of galactic love, of self-love, of compassionating oneself and learning the value in relation with all of existence and others in that process, and bringing that spirit into form in these times. We have Pisces with Saturn, North Node, and Neptune right now. Neptune will be coming back into a final square with Jupiter here soon. And that's another culminating opportunity to catalyze, well, what is real truth within who I am, who I have been. It's the opportunity to express and learn new and expand beyond replication, beyond limitation, and to embody that through life as authentically as one can.
And it's also it's catching my eyes this sun on 12 degrees, because the 12 degrees, the Pisces degree based on the degree theory from Nikola Stojanovic, and it is in Pisces, right? So we have the sun in Capricorn, which is on the Taurus decant. We have this Pluto-Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. Jupiter is the traditional ruler of North Node. At the time when this chart happened, they didn't know there was Neptune. That was discovered later on. So at this time, it was still Jupiter that they would have looked at as a traditional ruler of the North Node. So again, I find it, it's, it just never gets lost on you how the everything is always communicating with everything and helping us to understand the full picture. And yeah, it's also this Venus being in the sign of Sagittarius, and currently we are experiencing Venus just entered the sign of Aries, but Venus will be going back into the sign of Pisces, and she is conjuncting North Node Saturn and Neptune 3 times. So this is like a complete reset when it comes to our relational dynamic towards oneself, the Taurus, and towards the other, the Libra. And that's where this Mars is, Mars in Libra, 27 degrees, which is the degree 9, right? It's 2 and 7 adds up to 9, and this is where we at. The year 9, the year of Hermit, next year the year 10. That's where Venus is, 28 degrees, 10. So we could just geek out on this chart alone for the entire hour. But
That is
yeah.
true. Yeah, let's look at the current charts, shall we?
Sure. Yeah, I guess those are the ones that I'm going to share. So
Okay.
yeah, let's see. All right, so I think you should be able to see this one. Let me see which one is this one. Yeah, this is the current one. Yes, current one. But obviously, as we mentioned, the chart we just looked at, your chart, was the chart when the initial conjunction between North Node and Neptune happened in Pisces. Now, the last conjunction between Neptune and North Node actually took place in Aquarius, the most recent one before this one, which we'll experience later on tonight or tomorrow morning, depending where you are in the world, 6th or 7th of February 2025. And yeah, at this case, we can see that the conjunction took place 24 degrees of Aquarius, and actually Neptune was in Pisces, only 1 degree away from the place of the conjunction in Pisces we just looked at from 1858. So Neptune is like breaking apart and breaking the pattern of what was being seeded at that time. And now we're moving ahead with the evolution, especially as this took place in 2008. Yes, so this was when Pluto just moved into the sign of Capricorn. Here we go, 0 degrees.
That is interesting. I like this chart. We've got that grand Earth trine, on this chart with Venus, the Moon, the Sun, Pluto, Saturn, and the nodes, 24 degrees in harmony, the Venusian number energy.
Yeah, 6.
And South Node with balsamic phase conjunction with Chiron. So, closing that healing energy, what have you been, what is the process that got you from where you have been to who you are now, and how are you going to embody that through honoring who you are in real life, in authentic relation, but not only the self, as you mentioned earlier, but bringing that out into what you do and seeing how that reciprocates with others and resonance begins to take hold.
Yes, and here this Venus and Moon conjunction is literally in the same place where was the Pluto Jupiter, right? Pluto Jupiter in Taurus. We just looked at the previous chart. So now we have the Venus and Moon, and Venus again was in the sign of Sagittarius. Venus is the former rule of the South Node, which got squared by Pluto throughout the entire 2023. For the first half of that year, it was in Scorpio, then in Libra, right? And the
And
sun is there, so there is the closing phase between Venus and the sun in Taurus. So this is again yet another layer that is saying that the way we as humanity were experiencing life and how we related and what we valued, it has changed. It's changing continuously because once again, as we grow in and evolving, we are interacting with reality differently, and everything is relational. Everything, like being in a physical body as a soul incarnate, everything is relational. So how are we relating? And here we have the Taurus. Again, the Taurus is popping up as the foundation. And as you mentioned, the Grand Earth Trine, we are being like we are being invited to embody the human experience, because especially from the elder teachings of the scripts and stuff, it was always about coming out of body. Like we have to go out there somewhere, you know, to connect with something. And also there was the third man involved and stuff. Whereas here, everything is pointing us like, no, you have to ground within your own being, become your own authority. Saturn here is in Virgo, Pluto is in Capricorn, 0 degrees, and this moon, which is Capricorn in opposition with Cancer. We have that pair, and Venus being in a sign of Taurus, also Sun being in a sign of Taurus. So again, it's interesting how the last conjunction between the two took place in the sign of Aquarius. Currently, Pluto is in Aquarius. This is literally being squared by where Uranus is at the moment, also being square where Uranus was back then in 1858. And it's saying that the foundation of the reality we've been experiencing, whether it was in 1900s or whether it's now, it is changing, continuously changing. And there are cycles that have to end for new cycles to begin. And that's the Venus currently being a sign of Aries. And there is nothing in Aries on this chart, but I'm sure we could probably find something on Aries Deacon. But yeah, it's just life, and it always brings us to the point of stillness, especially this year with the Hermit and with the year in number 9, the stillness, to reevaluate how much we learn, how much we've come. Does this still hold a meaning? How we want to continue as humanity and as individual going forward? And that is going to be different for different people, the authentic expression, that South Node in Leo.
Yeah, that's well said. You do see Mars at that 27th degree 9. That's the Martian number. And Saturn, you know, reauthoring your value and service to self and bringing that into relation to existence. You know, the royal star, regal at 1 degree now of Virgo, or 0. So it's like a new phase energy, bringing that into awareness through, you know, embodying what has got you to where you're at now? What have we produced societally, globally, that actually is functional and brings value to life? And what is the cast-offs? What is part of the delusion, part of the waste which we've created in that process? How do we reintegrate that authentically from ourselves, rather than caring about who we are in relation to society, or what structure or what authority we face or battle against, because we don't agree with whatever narrative is being given as a structure. So in these changing times, we're going to have opportunities to see both and embrace both aspects of these changing polis, the spirit of culture as it goes through these changes.
What just came to me, what I feel because of the Chiron North Node Neptune conjunct on the Libra decan of Aquarius, is that presumably, and I'm sure many people can probably see that manifested in their own life and reality since 2008, when this chart took place and Pluto just entered the sign of Capricorn, which he just ended the transit through last November 2024. World became even more extreme, even more imbalanced. And I think this is, in a sense, this is what this chart indicates. Because of the Mercury 3 degrees, there will be a point when you'll have to make a choice. Also, there is again this big focus on this Taurus energy. Sun is in the Virgo decan of Taurus. Saturn and Taurus degree. Saturn is in Virgo. Capricorn is ruling the 6th house. Obviously, this will be different for different time zones, but Jupiter is also there. This is Virgo decan. Yeah, Jupiter is on Virgo decan. So to me, just looking at this chart, what it's saying that, okay, last time this North Node Neptune conjunction took place in the sign of Aquarius, it kind of potentially indicated that the wounding of the humanity, that which is stuck in time, the trauma, we know Aquarius also encompasses trauma, because there are things that are stuck in time, frozen in time, because they couldn't be processed, because whether it's your childhood or whether it's humanity hundreds of years ago, we didn't have the tools. So since 2008 until this point, 2025, there was a lot of this that got reopened, and it's all coming up. It's all coming up to the consciousness of humanity for us to be able to heal it. And that's that current conjunction in Pisces, North Node and Neptune in Pisces. So I really feel that this chart in itself, because of the squares as well and the oppositions and the ground earth trine, which is saying that we needed to learn to embody these energies so they can be healed, transmuted and transcended, which is also this Uranus being a sign of Pisces. And as I already mentioned, it's technically almost exact conjunction to the North Node Neptune conjunction in Pisces from 1858. So we can see just like how slowly humanity's progressing on its evolution, but it has to be embodied, because would everything happen too quickly, even now, like how everything is happening very fast, but would it happen any faster, we wouldn't be able to handle it, because the physical body is not yet accustomed to the Aquarian frequency.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's part of what you can feel. I feel in the current energies with the Saturnian disillusionment in Pisces. You're feeling some of the structure of actually what is real and authentic within us, and the tightening of life around where we put ourselves in relation with others. And in this current paradigm we see changing, we can feel the tension rising up within us in relation to wherever we go, whatever we put our focus to. And so falling into the value of your life as a cultivation, healing who you are and bringing yourself in service to yourself into reality that reciprocates that that heaven on earth energy, that reciprocation of value being understood, and knowing how to make decisions based off of calibrating yourself in alignment for not only your good, but what's the benefit of others naturally.
Yeah, and also I feel it's I mean, again, couldn't really get too caught up with the angles, because it would have been different for different times. So by Pluto, in this particular chart is in the 5th house, and the South Node is in the sign of Leo, and Taurus Sun almost conjunct the midheaven on this particular chart. So it's technically just what you described, that we need to learn, like, what is your value, what is your value, what do you value, how do you value yourself, and through that expression, what are you contributing towards collective. But the way that we were being taught to operate in the society was the other way. Like, no, somebody else tells you what should be your value and what should you be doing and what should you be contributing. But now everything is changing, because there is a South Node in Leo. Now we are, obviously the North Node is in Pisces. We are going to be having the South Node in Leo, North Node in Aquarius from July 2026. And this is, again, it's going to be a potential and possibility and opportunity for reevaluation. Like, what have we learned? What have we learned since, this last, North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo? Or it's just, again, it's the cycles are just giving us the opportunity to see how far we've come. What have we learned? And whether that which we find valuable and meaningful, or we had found valuable and meaningful, is still in alignment with where we are right here, right now, who we are right here, right now, and where we want to be going from this point onwards.
Yeah, I agree. That is part of the undercurrent, the natural flow of life. It's falling into the rituals of what brings meaning, and how you get into the felt presence of experience and getting in tune with that sense. It feeds and nourishes the spirit, so that the mind can break the loops of what has been defining who you are up to these points. That's part of why the world is so energetic and alive, and giving us all this information, all these narrations rising up, old mythologies coming to life. And the purity of who you are, naturally in resonance by what you're doing, is going to be a way to find how to hold that fire that your ancestors handed up to you, and moving forward with that. And I feel like this chart with Pluto as it entered Capricorn, that was, for me, it was my third house. And so that was, and a little bit of my second. So this is part of what I was realizing. And I feel a lot of people are realizing similar dynamics in their own life, depending on where this falls for them. But we can see the patterns as the stories of our cultures, societies, and the narrations. And we can see the ingredients and the processes of how these come out through conscious awareness, where people are playing their role to make it happen, whether you agree with them or not. So just finding who you are authentically in these times, I feel that's part of the gift of what this chart is giving us as well.
Yeah, and also I feel like that trine between Mars and Uranus and sextile to Jupiter in Capricorn. And currently we also have Mars in Cancer. Obviously, it's not on the same degree. It's already on 18 degrees at this point. So it's a different decan. But Uranus and Neptune here have a mutual reception. Uranus was in the sign of Pisces, Neptune was in the sign of Aquarius. So, and it's, like making a trine, this Uranus is making a trine to Mars, and that's in the 12th house in this particular chart. So this is again like what you said about the honoring of the ancestors, but understanding the meaning of why they had to go through what they had to go through. But now every next generation has the potential and opportunity to break free from that which no longer holds a meaning. And also with Jupiter here being a sign of Capricorn, like to be the creator of your own story, to redefine your life and to be able to build on that which seeded the experience that you are experiencing now, but you can take it to the next level. So with this Uranus in Pisces, it's kind of interesting because Uranus is like breaking the pattern and Pisces is intangible. It's like everything that ever happened on this planet. So it's like, because it's trining this Mars in Cancer, that everything exists in every single one of us, and we always have the choice to either experience the same thing or go to experience something different. And from the soul's perspective, none of that is wrong. The soul doesn't judge us. From the higher dimensions, there is much less polarization than it is here. So that's why it's interesting that we have that Mercury making an inconjunction to Pluto, just starting his transit through Capricorn, 0 degrees, and Mercury being 3 degrees, which is the choice. Also, 3 is the Empress, which represents the Earth in the tarot, the Gaia. So already at this stage, we were making the choice what we will be choosing, what we will be doing, where we will be heading by the time Pluto is done with Capricorn, which is the right here, right now. And it's going to, just like what we started with, it's going to look different for different people. And this is what was being prophesied, the split of Earth. It is not going to be physical necessarily. It is going to be energetical, vibrational, and it's going to offer different experience for different people, even if they're in the same room. They're going to be experiencing reality very differently depending on which timeline and which dimension they are tuning into based on their frequency. And I feel that in this 2008, this is what got concepted.
That's a very interesting idea. I agree. That sounds like, your consciousness, it is what defines all of your perception. You know, and that is found in relation to other, but it's felt deep within us. And that's part of what's changing, is that modality of perception of time or constructs as they have served or held us to serve them. That is changing with our updated awareness. In old modalities, old lineage of wisdom and knowledge and just common spiritual sense is rising through the process, and it is feeding the curiosity of a lot of us, and people are returning to a lot of the old ways, and they may return and settle for a time and move on. It doesn't mean that they're devotees of the statics. These are all processes and progressions, and as we move through them and become aware of ourselves in different ways, we are benefiting those beliefs, those things which had held us, for good or bad.
Yeah, and we also have the opportunity to expand on them because all of these pockets of wisdom, whether it's a book, whether it's whatever it is, they served, and it doesn't mean they don't serve now. But now with this age of Aquarius, we can take what benefits us and leave the rest. It doesn't have to be like literal that okay, now if I want to believe some philosophy or something, I have to follow it to the dot. And that's what I also feel with the Saturn being on 1 degree, the degree of Aries degree, but magician. In tarot, I always connect the, like the tarot with the astrology. So with the Saturn being in Virgo, this is again, like since 2008, we have the opportunity to discern what serves us and what doesn't. It doesn't mean that we all, it's no longer this narrow-minded black and white that, oh, if I'm Christian, I have to follow it to the dot. If I'm Muslim, I have to follow it to the dot. All of these things were incepted in a time where the level of human collective consciousness was very different. And that's what was needed at the time. It doesn't mean it doesn't serve now, but the way we use it is different. And, this is also what I feel with the Saturn opposition to Chiron in Aquarius and the T-square with the Mercury throughout this period of time, and Pluto was in a sign of Capricorn, and we realized how the current structure of reality that now with the Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is coming into in conjunction of this point of Saturn 1 degree Virgo. Saturn is entering Aries at the end of May, so he's gonna in conjunct this point. Like we need to have the experience with the in conjunction. We cannot just like go and follow everything to the dot. And also with the Aquarian age, we know that there is no blueprint. There is no blueprint. There is no one size is going to fit all. So also with the Pluto 0 degrees Capricorn, by this point, we all have to take responsibility for what do you want to experience and use everything that ever took place on this planet, which is the current South Node in Virgo, as an anchor point to help you understand how far humanity have gone. But it doesn't mean that we need to keep reliving the same experiences. And that's why everything that took place, like we bless it, be grateful, and now we can choose. We have the choice at this time and age. We have the choice. What do I want to take with me into the future? Because the future is not supposed to be the same as the past. It's supposed to be evolving. Therefore, it's supposed to be different.
Yeah, it's all progression.
Yeah.
It is.
So should we move to the next
Yeah,
one?
that was.
All right. So this was
Yeah,
the
let's look at
last.
the next chart.
Perfect. So this was the last South Node Neptune conjunction, which was in 2016. That was already in the sign of Pisces, 9 degrees, which is interesting because we are in a year number 9. Pluto was halfway through.
Yeah, and Mars was in Aquarius there.
Mm-hmm.
Pluto at the halfway point opposing the moon. Yeah, and Venus is sextiling South Node Neptune here. And trining Black Moon Lilith. Oh, actually, no, that's 20 degrees. But Venus had just prior had an opposition with the full moon on this conjunction with the South Node. Where's Neptune here?
Neptune Pisces, 9 degrees. Here is the
Yeah.
conjunction. Yeah.
Yeah, he's squaring Mercury as well. And just had the trine with the moon during that Venus-Moon opposition.
And also this conjunction that is in this case South Node in the sign of Pisces, North Node was in the sign of Virgo. It is trining the moon in Cancer, and this is where Mars is at the moment, still retrograde as we're recording this. So 2016, personally, I was still working on a cruise ship, very Neptunian, but we know what then happened afterwards, 2019, 2020, and so on and so forth. And that takes us now to this present moment in time, which will be the next chart, this Mars being in sign of Cancer. It is all making us gradually to start looking inwards and looking for the guidance and the authority inwards rather than outwards. And that's why also with this North Node in Virgo, we had to walk the earth to remember who we really are. We had to have the physical, practical experience, because to me, as I keep mentioning all the time, Virgo is the hero's journey, is the human's journey, is the lived experience of the spirit. The Pisces is the spirit. So at this time we had the North Node in Virgo, 9 degrees, and Mercury over there, like you mentioned, squaring the nodes, pointing to the North Node in Virgo. So Mercury being a sign of Sagittarius goes into Saturn. Where is Jupiter? Jupiter in Libra, very good. So this is all about learning to balance. Like this was the midpoint since the conjunction in 2008. And it said like we are learning what isn't working, and that's why I felt the need to mention the 2008. Between 2008 and now 2025, we really are at the point where we cannot go any further. We cannot go any further. The imbalance is so great with regards to where we are as a humanity that something has to give, something has to change. And this was the midpoint 2016, where Jupiter in the sign of Libra was making us to learn, I suppose, where is the balance and where it isn't. And in opposition with this Uranus in Aries, this is Sagittarius Decan, perfect, 21, which is the world card in tarot, the maturation, the endings. So it was fracturing the old paradigm and preparing us for change, because between 2016 and now, even more imbalance was revealed to us, and Saturn now being in a sign of Pisces, squaring the Saturn in this chart, it all has to change.
Yes. Yeah. Sextiling the Pluto in this chart as well. Saturn is in transit currently.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. And yeah, with Mercury in the T-square, somehow it was pulled into the South Node. But yeah, that energy of reauthoring your own authority, because you could see Mars is in a closing quincunx with the North Node at 9 degrees Virgo here. And so this is reauthoring a sense of self in relation to what had been the vision, unable to see the dream in real time for what it was, but finding out what path led you to where you are here now today, through the hero's journey, through actually embodying it, knowing the value of what the experience gave you, what it helped you to cultivate. And that's that gnosis which we bring into everyday life. Because we're caught up in the replicated denials a lot of time of what we had been or what other people projected upon us, or the limits of the meaning. We sacrificed the meaning for the equation in life a lot of times. And so we relearn the simple things so that we can hold the value of what could it be, not what is it.
And it's also, just doing some calculations, with the Pluto, it's a Taurus decan, it's a Gemini degree. And also the Sun on 26 degrees is almost perfectly trining the Mars from the previous chart, which was on 27 degrees of Cancer. So this is again just creating more necessity for different foundation. And this chart in this particular location was Taurus on the second house cusp, which is the perfect chart, right? And yeah, Venus, where is Venus? Venus in Capricorn, yes, Capricorn. So this is really being conscious about what really matters to you. What really matters to you in life. Venus was close into Capricorn. So just like you mentioned, not seeking the meaning in the structure and all definition, but seeking it within yourself. Moon was in her rulership in Cancer, Moon in Cancer. This is the Scorpio decan. Sun is in Scorpio, it's on Cancer decan. So we have all these similarities, which again are taking you back inwards. Like you will not find the sense of power outside of you. The sun is shining in a Scorpio. The sense of power, control, and all of that is actually within you. And yeah, there is the trine. I mean, it's not grand water trine, but we have the trine between Moon and Chiron, and Moon and Sun separately. And Chiron is in Pisces. Chiron is the key, as we know, between Saturn and Uranus. Saturn is in Sag, Uranus is in Aries. They trine in each other over here. So for us to go and explore these new horizons, to create this new story for humanity, the story of Aquarian age, the story of expansion, also Uranus being the rule of Mars, they have a mutual reception over there again. we need to let go of the past and the things that no longer serve and resonate with us. And for that, we needed to experience this imbalance. We needed to become conscious of the crisis. And that's what we are culminating now, because now we just get in the reset point as we speak at this time and age.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah, at this time I was transitioning between jobs and I was pretty much fed up with working. So it was very interesting, you know, when you're living the experience in real time, you know, it's just a phase, but you're still unable to hold what that meaning is because you're just treading water, getting through what you got to do in the moment.
Yeah.
Flashback.
All right, so this was our midpoint. So finally, we get into the right here, right now, which is
Yes,
this one, the February 7th,
February
2025. This is
7th.
Central Standard Time Zone, 12 minutes after midnight, which, as we were jokingly saying, is again the number 3. Here we have MC number 3. There is a lot of opportunity for co-creation by choice, conscious choice, and we have the Moon Jupiter conjunction here.
Yes, that is nice. You know,
Yeah.
and where's Mercury? Down in the 4th.
Yeah, Mercury in Aquarius conjunct Sun. The exact conjunction is taking place this Sunday. So 3 days from us recording, this 2 days after the conjunction.
Yeah, and it's square with Mars and Chiron. And Chiron is sextiling Mars in conjunct this Mercury Sun conjunction. It's very powerful, this expansion of our emotional language, the understanding of who you are, who you could be by feeling into it and allowing the mind to catch up to the feelings, open to the experience.
And that's actually it, because we know with the in conjunction it's a blind spot. You will not see the full picture. You cannot understand it. And Mercury is in a sign of Aquarius. Moon is in a sign of Gemini. Uranus is in a sign of Taurus. So we don't know, because the reality, the structure, the sense of safety and comfort, that which mattered before, it is all fractured. Is it all dissolving? Like, we know that traditional Mercury is considered the trickster, and now Mercury is in Aquarius, is taking it to a whole new level. So it's like we don't know what to believe. Also, because it is Neptune North Node conjunction, and from the lower vibrational spectrum, it would show up as lies, disillusion, trickery, and stuff like that. So, and we have this massive stellium over there, even though Venus already is in the sign of Aries, but it's still within the degree. So we have the stellium there out of sign for Venus. So there is the past and the present colliding, and also with the potential for the future, which we tapping into, tuning into, but we not yet see manifested. And we don't know because there is no physical manifestation. Saturn is in a sign of Pisces. The reality is dissolving. So that's why with this Mars being in a sign of Cancer and being retrograde and making an exact in conjunction to the Sun, it's saying you need to learn to trust yourself. The Sun is on Gemini Decan, and Moon is in the sign of Gemini. The answers you've been asking all your life are within you. Jupiter is in Gemini, newly stationed direct. What have you been digesting and realizing for yourself since October? Because Jupiter stationed retrograde week after the last eclipse in Libra. So what have we been learning with regards to our own life, the dynamics with others, and through the mirroring effect of the others and external environment, what we were learning about ourselves, that now Mars is pointing inwards and saying, now you really have to feel it. You have to feel it, and through that feeling, you will find your way, but it's not going to be tangible. First, it has to be a felt experience, and it's going to be manifested from the invisible realms. So it's more about believing that unseen, that believing the seen, because the seen, the Capricorn, is the manifestation of the Piscean age, is the manifestation of the past. But to create a different reality, experience a different reality that is in alignment with where you're going, you're not going to find it out there.
Yeah, the future is always created now, and that's what Uranus helps us to realize, especially in Taurus here. As Uranus will come into a nice perfect trine with that South Node, that's going to be part of the energy that we're carrying forward from Pluto here. And Pluto sextiling Venus, Uranus and Taurus. So this is part of the alchemy of life. You're not really aware in real time, but when you can find the value in the present moment and make decisions based upon that, then your future is always open. It is always going to be leading you to where you could be rather than where you have been. When you do that in a new way, you can honor perspective and what experiences teach and how to apply the knowledge to cultivate real wisdom through lived experience, through living your life in accordance with your own growth and the benefit of everyone else.
Yes. Yes, I just really feel because of that square, between the Pisces and the Gemini, that again, how we choose to experience and perceive that which we are experiencing, that is everybody's choice. And it depends on how much of the old stories are they willing to question and let go of. Because once again, with the Mercury being in a sign of Aquarius, Sun being in a sign of Aquarius, making an inconjunction to Mars, you're not going to become a different person doing the same things and operating from the same level of consciousness. So this is in a sense like with regards to external reality and the contrast it offers, it is just to teach us to stand in our own power. And it's not about spiritual bypass or being completely unaware and ignorant to what's going on in the world, but not giving it your full power, not giving it all of your energy, not giving it the priority in your life. Because it's like, and many of us already mentioned that example, like, what are you watching on the television? You cannot be watching 3-4 channels at the same time. So where does your energy go? Where does your focus go? Like all of these things are happening. They are all happening at the same time. But do you want to contribute towards that energy, or do you want to contribute towards creating a different energy, the polarity, the Libra? And that's also where we have the Lilith, the black moon Lilith in Libra, 24 degrees. So it is always a choice, and there is no right and wrong, because Gemini is, it's multi-dimensional. It's whatever you want it to be, especially with the Jupiter being there. So I really feel, especially with this Chiron still being on the degree of the eclipse from April 2024, the 19th degree, and squaring this Mars. And this was, I believe, second square. We have one more coming, I believe, because of Mars retrograde. This is a first quarter square, so it's just a crisis in action. Am I ready to feel what I need to feel in order to question the narrative and make a different choice and refocus my mind by mastering it and mastering the emotions I'm experiencing to create a different reality or not? And everybody has to decide for themselves.
Very well said. Yeah. That Mars to Saturn trine, you could feel that through the square with Moon, Jupiter, as you mentioned. It's like, what charade do you hold? What persona, what mask are you holding? Does it actually feel like it's is it giving you spirit to live or giving you spirit to be? And what's the difference? How do you fall into a creative energy or something which uplifts and honors the progression of who you are through the experiences you've been, and in that process, show others they can do the same for themselves. We don't all have to agree upon everything, or even if you can agree upon your own right to be in this world and grow in accordance with your nature and be able to figure out what that is for yourself, then that's something everyone can agree upon. And that what I feel is coming to the forefront through all of the processes of this cultural change that we're seeing, societal change, global change, the world changing, the climate, everything. It is, how mutable can you be in this in conjunction energy, in this unknown? It is part of us tuning into our true intuitive sense of self and value, and what we're shaking loose through the purity of these times.
Yeah, and like we have the Neptune Neptune North Node conjunction here, but technically Saturn is already conjunct in North Node as well. The exact conjunction is not happening for another couple of months, but it's already in effect. And the Neptune Saturn conjunction is not going to become exact until next year, and it's going to be taking place, I believe, 0 degrees of Aries. So this is literally it, you know, like this, everything that's happening in our life and in the world out there that we are observing as a spirit, we have the opportunity to decide whether it holds a meaning or not. And I know from the channeling material I follow, it doesn't matter what is truth. What matters is your truth, because unless it's a universal law, then the truth is mutable. It depends on the perception and perspective of the observant. So I really feel that we are living now at the time and age where everything is so like a perfume, like everything is so intangible, like, and you know, also because things are happening so quickly, we don't actually have the time to process them properly. And now with Mars being a sign of Cancer, that's what we are invited to do, like to tune into our emotions and like learn to understand ourselves. And that I feel with, you know, Mars trine in this stellium in Pisces, especially Saturn, this is how you're going to become the authority in your life, how you're going to master this matrix, by being able to tune in and gather that guidance, the information to create that which you want to manifest, to like to you know, to create and pull into manifested form that which you want to experience. It is all an inside out process, and it always has been. We just were unconscious of it, we didn't understand it, but now we have the opportunity to master it, because everything is out there, the good, bad, the ugly, all of it, everything is in the bright daylight. So people really cannot say that they have no choice. You know, everything is available, everything is out there for grabbing, all the information, the tools, you know, like the polarity of anything, like it literally is a matter of choosing. And this is where the Aquarian individuation and authenticity, this is where it lies. What are we wanting to experience? And it, you know, like with regards to your own soul, the way you know whether you're on the right path or not is how does it make you feel. And this is again what Mars is pointing towards, the Cancer, the feeling, the self-nurture, like how does it make you feel. So this should be the deciding factor with regards to how we're making our choices going forward, especially with the moon in Gemini and new phase conjunction with Jupiter. What story are you going to be experiencing depending what choices you're making? And you make the choices either based on what makes you feel good or what doesn't make you feel good. So again, it goes down to choice. But we have the opportunity to choose differently to how we've been choosing before, because we have access to everything we need.
Very well spoken, said like a true Pluto in Scorpio. Yeah, that was a
With
very,
South Node in Scorpio too.
yeah, I know. Squaring it into the Aquarian perception, you know, it is, what are we climbing? I mean, there's a lot of questions, but the answer is the key, and the answer is beyond the mind. It comes to you in the felt presence of the form, and we climb up the mountain of all the knowledge with Capricorn, all the systems, all the established thing, everything that we have clung to ourselves to find meaning in ourselves. We get to the point where we're at the precipice, and that's the Aquarian view, where everything is possible within vision. Where you focus, that becomes the directive. It is a yanging energy where pure spirit can find release into new expressions. And that's part of that Venus energy as well, right here with the Pluto sextile.
Yeah, and that was the first one of three. They're also gonna sextile 3 times because Venus is going to go retrograde on March 1st.
Big process.
Yeah, because Venus is the relationships, whether to yourself or other, is the queen of the relational dynamics. So Venus is very significant, especially as she was the rule of the South Node until recently, and that was the one that we were evolving, we were growing from. So now Venus is helping us to go to the next level by reliving the past, tapping into the new, going back to the past, then going back to the new, and then full stream ahead. And what you're going to choose depends on how you're focusing on your Mars in Cancer.
Yeah, that's true. I know that is going to be an interesting dynamic. We're going over the Aries point in our values, a sense of ourself, and the updated compassionation, new language rising within us. that language is something that we can realize as part of our change, and it gives us, yes, in spirit, that you can fall towards something new and create from a new place, because you aren't who you were yesterday. You're an updated version of who that was. And you can embody those cultivations in life. And that is part of this Mars in Cancer here, squaring that Chiron, the wounds of the past, healing those, the here now, and burning through the perpetuations of where we are offered facilitation, a place where we can put that kind of tension in our relations or these cultures to the bigger spheres. So it is reauthoring our emotional intelligence, bringing that into a sense of beyond the limitations of naming what they are, or this is the reason for, or these are the mechanisms of change that we have to live by or follow, so we can just fall into more authentic nature from within and find the flows of life here.
I think that we will be fully learning to cultivate it when Mars re-enters Leo, especially from May, when Mars comes out of the shadow. Because at the moment, with all this reevaluation with regards to who we are, how we feel, how we want to feel, and how can we master the feelings we have now to the point where we start feeling the things that we want to feel despite of the reality we are experiencing, the manifested reality. And then when Mars goes back into sign of Leo in April, and it's actually going to trine Neptune and Saturn from Leo to Aries, I believe, after that. This is going to support us in creating and creation of this new direction of becoming this new you that you will start seeing manifested more and more from 2026 onwards when we get to the year 10 next year. So I really feel now, especially with this North Node transiting through the sign of Pisces and being in a year 9, year Hermit, there is the past and the present are colliding, but from next year onward, it will be more present, future oriented, because I really feel, and this is what I've been tapping into, that this is the year where we're releasing not just the old versions of ourselves, but the old karmic contracts, because Saturn is karma, and Saturn is moving into Aries as of 2026. Well, this year already, for 5 minutes. But that's what I feel strongly, that this is the year for the final cleanup.
Yeah, and it matches with the wood snake and the shedding of the old skins. It's a nice segue, a nice connection. And Mars will be opposing Pluto
Yeah, again.
when he comes back in Leo, yeah. So that's going to be some transformative passion energy.
Especially because this is post-Mars retrograde by the time that take place. They had their first exact opposition when Pluto was still on 29 degrees of Capricorn on November 3rd, I think it was. It was literally the day I was flying here to Puerto Vallarta. And then they had another one in January, and they have one more in April. So what we will know, we will see, we will understand by April, end of April especially, what we didn't know back in November, December, because so much has taken place since, even already now in February, so much has taken place since November, and even more will do so because we will be shortly entering into eclipse season next month, and there will be operation of its own, especially with the final eclipse in Aries for, Mars, the solar eclipse in Aries for this cycle. So we are being initiated into this completely new territory.
Feels like it. You can feel the change in the energies since Uranus went direct. Really feel the tightening and the flow of life is starting to become more recognizable. You can feel what you do in any given day as having more meaning. Time is speeding up, energies are becoming more condensed, and that means the focus of the world around us, and our own urgency is going to start to be more recognized, and we are offered opportunity to honor ourselves in these times and go with what is most optimal for our own lives and share that out.
And I feel that's also to do with the Jupiter station in direct only a few days before this conjunction, 2 days ago. So 3 days before this conjunction, and Jupiter is the traditional ruler of the North Node in Pisces. Because we are, just like you said, and I know that we discussed this before, we just don't have time to waste anymore. So it's like really like we are fast recognizing the patterns because we already learned the lessons, at least some of them, by the South Node in Virgo. If we didn't, our ancestors did, and we have an opportunity to put it into practical application. They don't know, I don't need to make the same mistake again. I've seen that happening and I know what happens with that one. So it's like a fast pattern recognition, especially with Mercury being a sign of Aquarius, that is allowing us to move faster. We don't have to have months and months of experience in a certain dynamic to understand what it's about. We have a fast pattern recognition, and that allows us to move at the very fast pace. And now with Jupiter direct, Neptune direct, Uranus direct, everybody's direct apart from Mars. So we'll have only about a week of direct planets at the end of February, because then Venus stations retrograde in March and then Mercury in April, I believe. So we don't have much of a in a sense, yeah, planets will be direct, but we know actually when planets go retrograde, this is when we evolutionary accelerating. And then when they go direct, then we just starting to live it. It's the young energy then that we go forward with what we learned during the retrograde. And this is once again a preparation for this change of signs, going from yin to yang. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, they're all moving into yang oriented energy, which is that forward movement. So this year still we have the back and forth dance of these three planets, which in itself is insane, such a big planets moving at the same time. So yeah, so everything that's going on right now, whether it's in your personal life or your immediate environment or collective scene, it is all happening because it has to happen. It has to happen in order for these old cycles to end, because we are accelerating this process of burning of the old karma, because the new energy is already here and we have to go with it. So this is, as you said yourself, and I agree, that we are very focused and much more faster aware of this is the direction I want to go, and I don't need to have a month of experience in it in order to prove it to myself.
Yeah, and it is a 9 year, and that energy is very yang oriented. And I think Uranus, the higher frequency of Mercury, and Mercury in Aquarius, coming into that square with Uranus here. This is where you catalyze and you recognize it and you start to embody it.
Mm.
And that is a powerful part of this chart here.
Yeah, the
And that
crisis in
updated sense of
consciousness.
value and who you are. Yeah. And the value of life itself, your consciousness. Is it more valuable to feed into the narratives or feed into what doesn't serve or reciprocate, honor your existence? Or do you pull it in and you put it where it actually is more beneficial for you and everyone else? Those themes are going to be coming into awareness.
Yeah, that's actually the question,
Mm.
like, is it worth, like the five of swords that we need at all costs? Like, is it worth being right, or do you want to be happy? What is more important, to be right or to be happy, right? Because like we can say like, but it's true. They did this to me, or this happened to me. So what choice are we making? Is it more important to be right and to be holding on to that old truth, or is it more important to refocus and go like, okay, I'm choosing something different? Because if I keep holding on to this story or to this old belief system or to this old way of perceiving reality, then I'm going to be experiencing the same thing. And is it worth it? Does it make me happy? So with all of these happenings in Pisces, we are really tuning into what is the true meaning of anything and everything. Like, why are we even here? What's the point? And that's again like for individuals to answer for themselves, because if you seek in the answer outside of yourself, especially in books written thousands of years ago, you might not feel the same level of meaning as you might have few hundred years ago when you interacted with the material for the previous times. So that's what I mean, you know, we moved, we've gone forward with evolution. So the answers are no longer to be sought outside of yourself, because we are entering, well, we already entered the time in human evolution where the spirit wants to be present and can be present if you allow it so, but not by looking outside, but by tuning within, which is the Mars in Cancer.
Yes. Yeah, it's like the 10,000 things. Reality, everything is speaking to you. What you stare at, you become, and you feed into the circuits and you become those things. But how do you honor and be everything without limiting yourself? And if you do settle on one thing, how does it become the most authentic thing from living it and being in relation to your updated sense of value? You know, what your time and what your life is worth and what it could be worth, most importantly.
I think is that mutable energy you mentioned previously, just not attaching to anything rigidly, and always be open and flexible and willing to accept that we don't know everything and things are continuously changing, and the more we change, everything around us change, and the more everything around us change, we have to change. So the only constant is change, as we know. Whereas with Taurus, you know, we were so rigidly attached to the comfort zone and this survival mode of operandum that we did everything we had to do in order to survive. But this is not the time and age we're living in right here, right now, even though majority of us still feel that way, that we are being chased by the tiger, but there is a, you know, your accountant or your whoever, you know, like we still live in that kind of way, but this is not a way that is helping us to operate effectively, because especially with Uranus moving into Gemini as of July and then fully next year for the next 8 years or so, we will burn out. Like the nervous system will fry, which is also why so many people are struggling with autoimmune diseases. The body cannot handle this level of stress continuously. So again, the question is, what is the truth, or who is right and wrong? It's like, how does it make me feel, and how can I relieve this pressure? How can I make choices and focus on things that actually give me the sense of peace and balance, and, you know, experiencing the reality, my immediate reality, in a way that I feel that I can actually not control in a controlling, manipulative way, but I am in charge of, because that's the only thing you can control in this life, your life and your response to life out there. But that is it. We cannot go there and change the whole world. Not I mean, some people came here to play the role of the more public forward figures, but majority of us, we didn't. So then why do we waste all this time, energy and life force by focusing on the things we cannot change, rather than focusing on the things that we can? And then we don't have the energy for that because we feel burned out. So I feel, again, with this North Node, Saturn, North Node, Neptune, Venus conjunction, Venus being in Aries, it's a time for us to look at things differently from this new way and really focus on how all of these things make us feel. And is it worth to focus on this thing if it doesn't make me feel good no more?
Yeah. And that tension to form, you know, the tension of life is always there, ever present. If you don't use it, it uses you. So when you can put that consciously into something which betters you or betters your situation or seems progressive or it breaks you out of a rut or it gives you meaning for living, then that's an energy you can hold right now to bring forward when Mars does go through Leo, and we'll be in a quincunx, closing quincunx with the North Node in the third decan at some point here. I haven't looked at Mars transit too closely, but so we are heading into these compassionation times where our language, our sense of self, and the values that we can actually cultivate into meaning, into multiple perspectives or opportunities for other people and culture and society in general, is going to begin to take shape in the spirit. and we can find language, the words, and bridge meanings into reality, and networking and all that. Aquarian themed natural progression will begin for anyone on this path, just start to unfold for them.
Yeah, more and more people are starting to focus on the smaller, like a community settings, not necessarily like physical communities, even though that aspect of it. But while we know that whatever is going on in the world, the systems and stuff, people are seeking alternatives, the alternative ways of being, working, creating, living, and stuff like that. So this is all happening. It's all happening simultaneously. It's just, again, it's a matter of focus. Am I focusing on the things that are falling apart and being broken? Or am I focusing on the potential of what can be and also seeking the information about the other aspect of things? Like, while all of these things are happening, there are also things happening that we are unaware of, but they're also happening. So this is the choice. This is the matter of perspective. Like, everything is happening at the same time, but what are we focusing on? Because, me being digital nomad, I know for a fact that there are things happening. There are new ways being cultivated. There are people behaving in a very different way, living life different way, focusing on different things and reclaiming their power by doing the things that make them feel empowered and focusing on the things that they can control and that they can change, while all of these other things are happening at the same time. So this is, again, taking us back to this: what holds a meaning for you? How does it make you feel? Where do you want to see yourself going forward? And in a sense, it is being more focused and being able to master our focus, but not being narrow-minded, but block the distractions, like being able to really focus, be disciplined with our mind, like being able to focus on these things rather than be distracted by million different things, consuming so much information in a day, which our brain is not equipped to actually digest because it's too much. And then we just get overwhelmed. So I feel that people are potentially it already happened. This is already happening, and it will be happening more. So people are going to be more discerning with regards to how they interacting with reality.
Exactly. Like, even right now, reality's happening. I can hear everything coming through all at once. And the understanding of the bigger picture isn't lost in all that noise because I've become accustomed, aware of what actually matters.
Yeah.
When you're living in limited, confined circumstances, the meaning can't be grasped fully in what could be, because you are just in the rhythm of the process of these automated responses that you build up over time, and shedding through what that is part of this process in the here and now. And people and situations are going to be happening to help us become aware of that and move forward with more grace, with more dignity, with a sense of value that life is meaningful, it's valuable, and it's what we can do in it that really helps us to define what that could be, to embody that.
Yeah, it's like what I shared with you previously, that everything is out there for grabs, but it's not universe's responsibility to chase you with it. Like, hey, here you go, take it. Like, it's our responsibility to decide, I am worthy of it and I deserve it, and I'm opening myself to receiving it. Because if we really believe that universe is unlimited and we are the creators of our reality, then obviously we need to learn to embody that. But that's the thing, it's literally like, imagine that you have the whole buffet out there with all this food, right? But the food is not coming to you. You need to go and get it. So that's like literally what it is. The universe has everything you want in its unlimited potential in the quantum field. Everything is there. Everything is there. Everything that you don't experience in your current reality in a manifested form is in the quantum field, is in an invisible realm as a potential to be yet manifested. But it is not going to come and offer itself like, hey, how about this? How about this? Like, unless in Mexico on a beach and the food comes to you, right? But I mean, in most of the cases, you need to go and get it. It's the inspired action, is the Mars. Once Mars go to Leo, like, follow your purpose, follow your destiny. So this is also with this North Node in Pisces, where we have to transcend the victimhood mentality and connect with the spirit and understand the meaning of everything. And then that will allow us, because with the trine currently with Mars, and then as you mentioned, in conjunction to Leo, it will allow us to pursue something which, yes, we not yet see, but we can feel you can feel it in your heart. You can feel the stirring of that fire, that this is what I desire. But in order to get it, I need to go after it. You know, the universe is not going to just like go pestering you like, hey, knock, knock on a door, you know, like if I'm apathetic and I don't care and I blame everybody else for it. So that's what I mean. The universe has everything that you desire to offer to you, but you need to want it enough to go after it. And this is also what the Mars in Cancer, and then going back to Leo, is helping us with. That, like, what do you want? How do you want to feel? What makes you feel excited and want you to get out of that bed every morning? And yeah, it's for sure not news. So yeah, find something different and go after it.
Yeah. Self-direct your focus, your attention, and let yourself be the creator of that. That is, it's a powerful gift to become aware of that in real time.
Yeah, and we can see there are so many trines. The trines between the water and the trine between the air is the thoughts and emotions. That's what I mean. Once we master the two things, you master the matrix. You can have and be and do whatever you want. But until we allow the external to control our thoughts and emotions, then we always feel disempowered. We always feel victimized by the external circumstances, because the world out there will never be perfect, because it's meant to offer the duality of experience to show the contrast and help you to learn about your preference. And this is how we grow, by the squares, by the challenge. This is how we grow. This is how we evolve. So we cannot wait for the world out there to arrange itself to our liking and then I'll be happy, because then you'll never be happy, because the world out there is not to serve you, you know, not the way it's designed at the moment. So yeah, you know,
well
I don't
said.
chase, I attract. So you have to become the point of attraction, the magnet.
That's true. Yeah, that is a nice little way to describe that Uranus to Sun Mercury square. You know, how do you embody that in a way which is it's fertile, you know? How does the Empress move in reality? Allowing the world to meet you, to reciprocate with you. That is
You become
part
it.
of yeah.
You have to become it. It doesn't happen any other way. The world is not going to see you as emperor or empress unless you become it and you embody the frequency. And that is the inner work. That is the Mars in Cancer. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody just wants to point out at the Capricorn and point fingers and say it's somebody else's fault. Nobody wants to do the inner work. And without the inner work, you cannot move to Leo. You cannot move any further. So yeah, everything has time and place. And at the moment, with the Mars retrograde, and we are still in Aquarius season, but later on this month entering into Piscean season, we are culminating the cycles that began a long time ago. So things are not necessarily going to start moving forward very much until end of March, beginning of April, and then furthermore in summer, or in Northern Hemisphere anyway. So this is all a conception of energy that is going to take us into the future. And you know, we have the charts for that too, so we can just show the dates, but probably it's not much of a value to discuss them in depth. But yeah, you know, like this is seeding something that we will then see culminating in 2041, which is the time when Pluto will be almost done with Aquarius. So yeah, that's when we will have the next Neptune North Node conjunction, and yeah, it is in Taurus.
Yeah, interesting. That's the first chart we looked at. Jupiter, Uranus were at that degree, I believe.
The Pluto, Jupiter. Yeah, Pluto, Jupiter conjunction,
Pluto, yeah,
exactly.
Pluto, Jupiter. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had the Venus, Moon. Yeah, and the in between the conjunction with the South Node, it's in Aries. So here is the initiation, 2033. The nodes once again will be in Aries and Libra, but reverse. So yeah, the evolution is progressing, everything is going forward, and that which you see it now, we will see the full manifestation of with the North Node Neptune in Taurus in 2041. But yeah, that will be a completely different landscape with the in conjunction to Pluto, 27 degrees Aquarius. I mean, yeah.
No, that's a scale. That's quite a cycle. So we're living it. It's good to live in unpredictable times as much as it is frustrating, but we're here for this.
But that's why we came, you know? Would we know how the movie's gonna end? Nobody would go to watch it. That's why, you know, we born, we forget, and the spirit is all excited because everything is like mystery. It's all excited. Like we all, you know, most people like mysteries and, well, some people like surprises, some don't. But yeah, this is how the spirit, your higher self, the source perceives it like, oh, that's exciting. Let's see what's gonna happen in this lifetime, what the world is gonna do, and what you're gonna do with it, how you're gonna respond, what you're gonna choose, right? So it's all just a game. It's all just a playground over here.
Good way to look at it.
All right. Should we leave it at that? Or any final
Yeah,
thoughts?
yeah, I think these are power pack times. It was a good breakdown. I like this Neptune North Node energy. It's all the echoes of the past crashing on the shores of the present. And what do you listen to? What do you hear in that noise?
Yeah,
It feels good.
exactly. Okay.
All right. Well, Mila, thank you for the time. It was a good talk, and I will catch you later.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah,
Bye.
take care, everyone.